Alright guys, in the top 8 of tonight's standard FNM, on the left we've got Alec Myers. Haven't seen him tonight, but he is up to his old tricks playing the red-green devotion deck that he's done so well with over the last couple of months. His opponent is Jonathan Wright. Sat in on commentary during round 4. He is playing an Esper control deck just like his brother. So Alec with an explosive start here. Turn 2, Burning Tree Emissary into a Springleaf Drum, which he then allows him to chain into a Frostburn Weird, and Alec yelling because I give him grief because the 2 Springleaf Drums in his deck just seem way out of place, but they do allow him to accelerate into turn 2 Domries, turn 3 Xenagoses, and the like. So getting some work done here. Serving in, not pumping. Activating Nykthos for 4, and there's a Boros Reckoner, so playing into the verdict a little bit here, but Alec, I guess, feeling he needs to get some pressure on board. Question in the chat from Mortadella, do we do this every Friday? We do, give or take. Missed a couple in the last few weeks because of some travel and whatnot, but every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, click the follow button here on Twitch to subscribe and get an email notification anytime we go live. You can also follow me on Twitter at ZachSalesMagic for additional announcements. Thanks for watching. So Jonathan has a 4th land, but it's a temple, so he does not have Supreme Verdict Man. I don't know if he has it in his hand or not, but he couldn't cast it if he did. Activating Nykthos here. There's a Stormbreath Dragon. Still have 2 mana floating from Nykthos. Dissolve is going to answer the dragon. So there's 4 mana for a Xenagos. Looks like we made a satyr there. We're just digging for the token. So that's going to serve in for a total of 7. Puts Jonathan down to 10. And dead on board. There's the verdict, but not nearly as good as it was last turn, or would have been last turn, because the Xenagos is going to do some work there. And now a Chandra Pyromaster while Jonathan is tapped out. Go ahead and tick it up. Drops Jonathan down to 7. And Jonathan up against 2 Planeswalkers here. And we see the power of Alec's deck. It just has so many. He has such aggressive draws, and it also has this late game reach with Domries, Xenagos, and Chandra Pyromaster. So a D-Sphere takes out the Xenagos. For the time being, the clock has slowed. So we're going to 0 with Chandra. There is an Ash Zealot. So we can cast the Ash Zealot here, and if it sticks, which it likely should, as Jonathan does not have Dissolve mana up, we can then use the Springleaf Drum to activate Devotion, pick up 4 mana. I'm not sure if that's going to be advantageous or not. Oh, we haven't played a land yet anyway, so we can just do that naturally. Activate Devotion for 4. 5 for a Xenagod. Azorius Charm on the one that got the trigger. So ultimately get in for no damage there. But again, Alec continues to add pressure to the board. So we know Alec is going to draw that Ash Zealot next turn. Jonathan's stuck on 5 lands again. So we know his hand is all business. A 0 from Chandra revealing a land. There's the Ash Zealot. Xenagos trigger on the Ash Zealot. Serve in for 6 total here. We've seen one Azorius Charm out of Jonathan. Let's see if there's another. There is not one. So Jonathan dead on board to a variety of, well, Revelation is going to change that, put him back up to 3. But he needs a variety of things here. And he just scoops them up, dead to the variety of threats that Alec was posing. So Alec doing what he does best. So game number 2 underway. Jonathan trying to draw even here against Alec, who had a very explosive game 1 draw and was able to beat a Supreme Verdict. Alec is on the mold of 5 here, but he still manages to land a turn 3 Domri. Of course, Jonathan is a Detention Sphere deck, so Domri not nearly as bad against, not nearly as good against him as it is against a lot of other decks, but still unanswered. It's going to cause a lot of problems. And here is a Jace, Architect of Thought, likely going to draw some cards. There is the D-Sphere and 2 lands. Pretty easy split here. Jonathan does, in fact, take the Oblivion Ring effect. Domri ticks up. We whiff. 4 lands, cast this Burning Tree Emissary. 4 mana for Burning Earth. That's a good one, as Jonathan currently has only 1 basic land in play. Yikes. I think we already talked with Jonathan while he was in here on coverage during the round 4 feature match, where he talked about his deck. I don't think he plays Revoke Existence, so that's going to be a problem. And there's a Pithy Needle, likely naming Domri.
I have to check.
Alright, so Needle is in fact on... I thought he was looking at Domri, but he had played a Temple of Abundance or whatever, and Temple of Abandon, I think, is the red-green one. So just serving in with the Burning Tree there. Should have put him at 19, I think. So Jonathan, in a world of hurt here, needs to find a D-Sphere for that Burning Earth. Alec flooding out here. So there's an Essence Scatter. And an attack for 1, it looks like. Into Jace to prevent the drawing of cards. Question in chat, can you redirect Burning Earth damage to Planeswalkers? I'm pretty sure you cannot do that. Let's take a look at Burning Earth just to get a feel for what's going on. As we see Alec loading up a Nykthos. Cast a Xenagos. So the Xenagos hits. Jonathan is in a world of hurt here. So he's going to bend his Jace, revealing Blind Obedience, Supreme Verdict, and... well, 2 verdicts. So 2 verdicts versus a Blind Obedience. Blind Obedience is very good against Stormbreath Dragons, but not great in this spot. The verdict's actually not very good either. The verdict is just a 4 damage, remove 1 creature. There is the Blind Obedience, so that will at least slow down any top deck Stormbreath Dragons. I'm sure Alec sides into Destructive Revelry here, so should he draw it, he's got the option of kicking the needle or the blind obedience. Yeah, can you redirect? Because it is damage from a source you control, right? So I guess you can do that. So that's pretty brutal. This game hinges on Jonathan being able to find the D-Sphere. And there it is. So D-Sphere on the Burning Earth lets Jonathan play some magic here. Did we forget to use our Xenagos? Oh no, we just didn't have an extra token. There's a Burning Tree Emissary, but no follow-up, I guess. Alec's got to feel pretty good about overloading the board since Jonathan pushed 2 Supreme Verdicts to the bottom. Jonathan just plays land and passes back, likely representing Sphinx's Rev at this point. Quicken into Verdict? So Jonathan had the 3rd Verdict. And there's another copy of Burning Earth. So Jonathan tapping very low in order to clear the board, but as a result, Alec gets to stick another copy of Burning Earth. So he's in a world of hurt still. Just doesn't seem like Jonathan could ever... And there's a Fated Retribution, which is huge in this spot. Just one of in these decks, but destroying all planeswalkers and all creatures. Jonathan has to drop down to 8 in order to do it because of the Burning Earth. Dissolve takes care of the replacement Xenagos. And with the incremental life gain and life loss from Blind Obedience, Jonathan hanging in there. He's in a pretty good spot at this point as Alec just has the 1 card in his hand. And it's just draws and passes back. Jonathan scrying, trying to find a win condition here. Looking for Elspeth. Not sure if he has an Aetherling in this deck or not. But that Burning Earth still in play. But Jonathan has managed to find 5 basics, so he can pretty much cast whatever he wants with impunity. There is an Ash Zealot. It does resolve. It does, of course, come into play tapped because of Blind Obedience. Question in the chat as to whether or not Jonathan's just playing blue-white control. No, he is playing black. He does have some. He does have some black removal. I'm not sure how much in the main, but definitely some in the sideboard. So not those black Scrylands are not just for drawing function. There is a Chandra. That's going to meet a Dissolve. I think Jonathan has exhausted most of his dissolves at this point. I think at least 3. He still needs to find some way to close this game out. So looking at Jonathan's hand, I see a Detention Sphere, and I can't make out the other cards. So D-Sphere on Burning Earth here seems pretty good. That Burning Earth just shuts down so much of his late game. I mean, Sphinx's Revelation at this point basically just wins Jonathan the game outright, but the damage he would take from it at this point just not very lucrative. There is a D-Sphere with Extort. Remember Alec doing all of this off of a multi 5, so he almost got there, just drawing a few too many lands. So just gets in for one because of the delayed Jace trigger. Another tick up on Jace. There's a Destructive Revelry on a Burning Earth. In response, Sphinx's Revelation. So Alec trying to free up a Burning Earth from under the D-Sphere just to turn off Revelation, but now Jonathan back up to 17, drawing basically the remainder of his deck. Does take 2 off the Revelry, but seems mostly inconsequential here. I guess the best card that Alec can draw at this point is Stormbreath Dragon. Let's see if he can. Stormbreath is very good at this point. It clearly was not Stormbreath Dragon. Fanatic of Malgus on Jace. But I think at this point Jonathan surely has all the answers he needs. Let's clean up first D-Sphere on Burning Earth with Extort, and now Verdict or something comparable to clean up the board. Possibly an Elspeth. And Alec has seen enough, going to be very difficult for him to come back. Alright, so game 3, the decider. Alec had a pretty aggressive opening in game 1 and closed it out with some Planeswalkers. Game 2, he mulled to 5, and Jonathan had a Fated Retribution just when he needed it, and eventually won from there. Alec on the play here with his red-green Devotion deck. Comes up with a turn 2 Ash Zealot, so he's right where he wants to be. Jonathan playing 2 basics here. Careful to play around Burning Earth, and there is a Blind Obedience. So Ash Zealot gets in there, and there's a turn 3 Domri. Activation misses. Let's see if Jonathan has the D-Sphere. He does not. So there's a Temple of Silence, leaving that one on top. So there's a Nykthos. Serve in for 2. Land a Xenagos. That's going to meet a negate. So effective fog there from Jonathan. Still, this Domri still 3 turns away from winning this game by itself. There is a Mutavault, very important, as it basically serves to keep Planeswalkers honest in this matchup. A second copy of Blind Obedience and a Pithing Needle extorted once. Pithing Needle naming Domri. Wait. Alec getting a little bit rambunctious there, as he's already activated his Domri, but just a quick shuffle will sort that problem out. As Alec did see the card that was on top, so keeping everything kosher there. So Jonathan is tapped out here, so Destructive Revelry on the Domri. So Revelry takes out the Pithy Needle anyway. Chaining Nykthoses to play a Frostburn Weird. So Domri 2 turns away from going ultimate. Johnson will be unlikely to beat the Domri ultimate. And there is the D-Sphere on time to take care of that Domri. Serving in. So I think we had some discrepancies about the life total here. But we did attack in with the Ash Zealot and the Frostburn Weird. Pumped to the max, it looks like, for a total of 6. Jonathan was at 12, so he is in fact down to 6. He is dead on board. Very unlikely that he's not going to be able to at least survive another turn here. He does have Mutavault. He does have 2 Blind Obediences. He does attack in. See if Jonathan wants to block or not. What can we be representing here? Azorius Charm? we're just gonna extort a Quicken twice, just to draw a card and survive here. And when it's all said and done, Alec is going to pump his Frostburn Weird for the max, leaving Jonathan at 2 here. And he just passes back. So what is up? Activating Nykthos for 4 mana, 5 mana. Here's a dragon. No, it's a Xenagod. Xenagod will make... Yep, pumping before combat, and there's a trigger. So the Frostburn Weird, and then Rev for 2. So he'll go up to 4. He'll take 2, so no net damage, but still up against it here. As Alec is one red or green mana symbol away from activating his Xenagod as well. So he just passes back again. There is a Mistcutter Hydra into play tapped. That is going to turn on his Xenagod though. Pumping the Ash Zealot, making it a 4/2. Serve in with the team. That Mistcutter is not attacking. Jonathan just at 2 here. Jonathan can't find a way out of it. He did have Sphinx's Revelation. That would put him up to 4, but could not find a way out. So Alec, once again, makes it to the top 4 with his pretty fun Gruul deck. I'm going to step outside quickly so that we can expedite this and move on to the top 4.